Hello folks, Scott Grove here. Yep, you can't see me at all. Today I'm going to talk to you about compressors and their role in guitars and bass guitars. Today for guitars I'll be using a Paul Reed Smith 305 guitar. I'll just be staying actually in the 4 position, so the middle single coil and the neck single coil. And then for the bass guitar I'll be using a Fender Jazz Plus, which has the 2 silver lace sensors. It's an active bass. Okay, anyway, the 2 compressors I'll be using to show you what compressors actually do. This is the most misunderstood effect, if you will, if you want to use it as an effect. Some people throw them away because they don't understand what they do. They don't think they do anything. But I would not actually play a gig without one, and mine stays on full compressed all the time, never shuts off, so it actually stays in my rack. Not this one, but my pedal, which I'll show you. The compressors, they actually smooth out all of your notes in a way that they take all your notes that you hit like accidentally or on purposely, softer than others, and they bring those volumes up. And then when you really dig into your guitar, they bring the volumes of those down, so that everything is at a constant volume. And the only real way to bring volume and dynamics back into your playing would end up being, like a volume pedal in order to change your volume. Why would anybody want such a thing? Well, I'll show you, and you can decide whether you like it or not, whether you would like to kick one, turn the pedal on or off to see if you like these effects, and different ways to use them. Okay, what I'm using right here is what most people consider to be the worst piece of compressor ever made in the world, and of course I happen to love this as my bass compressor. I don't use this as my guitar compressor. This is the Alesis 3630 compressor limiter with a noise gate in it, which is a wonderful thing, the noise gate. You'll see right down here that red means the noise gate is on, meaning no noise is coming out of my amp. It's dead quiet. But when I hit a note, it goes green as it starts to die out. This is a naturally noisy room, and we'll wait for it. You can hear it. I've got it set, what's called the threshold right here, set so that it just kills off the very bottom floor, just where the noise is coming from. This noise, that noise you hear there. This room is very dirty power wise, so it's chopping off just that. I can chop it off more. And let me make it this way so you can see it happening, and it starts to chop it off, and it will chop off even sooner. But that's what the threshold does. A gate is a beautiful thing to have, a noise gate. It just shuts your amp off, makes it sound like your amp's not even on between songs. So it's a good thing to have. Even if you don't use the compressor, just throw a gate in your signal chain. It's a beautiful thing. People will love you for it. Shuts off all that tube amp hiss, or any amp hiss. You hear my amp hissing? No. You don't hear it pissing or hissing. Okay, right now the compressor is turned off. Here's the guitar, just straight through the amplifier, no reverb, just if I play softer, it goes softer. If I play harder, it goes louder, like a normal guitar, quote unquote, normal would. A compressor can eliminate some of that. Why in the world would you want that? To get that sound, which is basically associated with funk and lots of country. Okay, let me show you kind of what this does. I will just kick it in on this unit first and show you the difference between like this. best without it. Now I'll just kick in the compressor, and I've got a fair amount of squash on there, which means it's really, you'll be able to tell by right here how much it is actually squashing the signal, and I have to crank it up for that to compensate for that with the output. So the display over here, green, is showing you how much input gain I have, and this over here is showing you how much reduction in actual output level there is, how much it's squashing this sound. Okay, so again, by comparison, then I'll just turn it right back on. Here it is without it. Here it is with it. I'll crank the volume on that part just a little bit. Okay, without it, doing some single notes. With it, same notes. You'll hear that poppy thing, but you'll also hear what is called squash. Okay, that is your threshold. Some people just call it whatever they want, squash, amongst most guitar players that don't know what they're talking about. There is another knob on here called, okay, here it is. Let's stay with the threshold for a second. Let's turn the compressor on. Now I'm going to take that threshold, change it so there's not so much squash, and the volume will actually get louder, so you would have to compensate for the output, but you will get less of that squashy sound. So now here it is all the way over, so there's like nothing happening, so it's not squashing any. With the red, there's no gain reduction, as it says right here. As I turn it over, you'll notice the volume getting less, so I have to make up for it with the output. And the more I squash it, there it is, squashed all the way. It's just a sound that you hear all the time, and it does not sound like an effect, it just sounds different, and it is so cool. For those of you who don't need any extra sustain, which I will demonstrate with my Boss CS3 compressor sustainer, which is my weapon of choice for compressors, and I'll show you why in a second. These make a fine compressor, just all over compressor, and you can just stick it in your rack, leave it on, and find a happy medium where you like it, where it just gives you that studio grade sound. Just check this out. Okay, so it does not give you the ability to have much in the way of dynamics, which is why, again, I suggest grabbing a volume pedal to toss in there, just to basically work your foot on there. And yes, you're glued to your guitar pedal, the volume pedal, pretty much all night long when you're using something like this. Okay, so it's just an amazing effect, if you will, but it leaves out all the little notes that you might screw up on. It takes care of that. If you're like, and you accidentally hit that sucker, it will take care of that for you. Okay, so it does not allow for things like that to happen. Same thing. I'm trying to hit it harder and harder, and it squashes it more and more and reduces the volume, so it's actually a gain reduction. Okay, I'm going to kick this one out, and I'm actually going to fire up the Boss down here just to show you a little bit of difference. Okay, here's my Boss, and I'll bring it up here so you can actually maybe see what's going on. Hate being my own camera guy. Anyway, and what do we have? You can't read everything. I'll read it to you. Okay, so you have your level, how much volume, your tone knob, you have your attack. The attack is whether you want to hear the initial note that you hit or if you want it to be extremely squashed again. Okay, so I turn it all the way off because I want the most squash I can get. And the next one is sustain. This is what most compressors do not have, is the sustain. That's actually like an extra preamp built in, and it keeps adding volume and adding volume and adding volume until it's just so flippin' noisy that you can't imagine. But then again, you control that with your volume pedal. Okay, so I max out the sustain, turn the attack off, and then I just match my level and tone to suit me, and I just leave this sucker velcroed in the back of my rack, and it stays on all the time. It's not even in the front of my rack, it's in the back where I can't even see it because I do not ever shut it off. Okay, so the old compressor, here's without. Here's the Alesis compressor. And here comes the Boss compressor. Here we go. And here it gets louder, 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 louder. And you hear all that noise. That's because my room is not grounded and have 3,000 things plugged in the wrong way. But it keeps adding volume so that your notes will go on for days. Hear it building. Stuff like that, where you're trying to get notes to ring forever, it will keep doing that. And in conjunction with your volume pedal right there, you can keep bringing in more headroom. Turn your amp up to about twice of what you normally would, and then you put your volume pedal about half and leave that as your normal volume, about halfway in there, and then fire up that dang compressor, and you've got tons of headroom to goose that compressor with, or your volume pedal with, to keep getting more and more and more volume out of it while the sustain keeps getting more and more volume out of it. And you can make like pedal steel bends and all that kind of junk. Any note in the world literally lasts forever. Okay, so this is the better of the guitar sounding compressors. You'll get pedals out there, most of the things that you'll hear from, which are the flavor of the month, I like to call them, type of pedals. I'm trying not to make you sick here with this, my horrible camera skills, which will all sound like these. You get your Wampler ones, your MXR Dynacomps that have 1 or 2 knobs. The Wamplers have 2 or 4 or 5. They're like $300 a piece, and they are no better than this thing that you can get for 50 or 60 bucks for that, or the Boss compressor used on eBay. Okay, and yet you have a noise gate built in here. It's great if your amp does not have a noise gate. My particular amps do. The Johnson Millennium 150s have noise gates built into them, so I don't actually need this function, but everybody else in the world would at least get it for the noise gate. Okay, even if you don't use that compressor. But if you're a bass player, coming up shortly, I'll show you where that is immensely important and useful, and you won't need the Boss compressor. This will be perfect for bass players. Okay, again, I am going to let you know that, like I said, this will be a great bass compressor. But let's come back here and I will show you the secret of my tone, which you all don't get to actually hear my real tone very often. And this is going to be me using the Morley volume pedal. Okay, I'm actually going to dime out the volume control on this compressor. Okay, so now I've got, let me back this sucker back just a little bit. Yeah, I got tons of chords in here. I'm going to actually put my guitar on so I can stand up in order to push down on the volume pedal. Okay, so here comes my foot, and here's how I use that compressor with a volume pedal. So I've got room for days for volume. Act like I have dynamics, which your compressor actually robs you of, which is why I use the volume pedal, then you just creatively use your foot. You have to play your compressor. You can't just turn it on and forget it. You have to play it all night long by using your volume pedal. Okay? Keep on doing as much as you need to, especially for steel guitar bends. So you keep pushing down that volume pedal, and it just keeps, it has the same time as your compressor. Sustain part of it is goosing your volume. You're goosing your volume on your volume pedal at the same time, and you just have headroom from hell. Less noisy room than this, then it sounds perfect and you don't hear all that extra noise. Which you cannot do with out. I'm back down on the ground. You can't do all that fun stuff without having the compressor on, because your notes die out. Check this out. Again, that's just the noise of the room. So take the noise out of the thing. Again, like I said, it's just a noisy room. It's not so much the compressor. But things like trying to, and it's already died out. I don't even have time to go up there and hit anything. But with this, okay, it just keeps making the noise go louder and louder and louder unless you do what you want to do. Okay. If I was to try that without it, it's already going away. You can't sit there and keep doing things. It's gone. I'm still holding the note. It's gone. I haven't let go of it. It goes away. Okay, so compressors are a beautiful thing, especially the Boss. If you take away the sustain, and just add a little bit, that pretty much sounds like any MXR or any Wampler pedal you would use, or anything like that. That's basically the most you would get out of such a pedal. About that much. Whereas the Boss, you get this extra. and it just keeps going. Okay, so there's that, and everybody's like, what's that popping noise? That, believe it or not, that's something you want. That's instead of pick noises. You actually get a smoother. So it's actually taken the clicky, clanky, clunky things, turning them into pops. So it changes it from snaps and crackles and turns them into pops. Okay, but it is, like I said, so great for country and for funk stuff. Again, I will do the single note finger picking thing here for you. Nothing's dying out. It's going to get louder. If I kill it, there's where your normal volume was. Bring it back in, it's going to keep going. Shut it off. There's where your guitar is normally at. It's running out. Turn it back in, you're still cooking with gas there. So there is the compressors on a guitar. Just a quick run through of what they are good for, which is tons. So go try them out. They are amazing. Like I said, I refuse, period. I hate the sound of a guitar directly into an amp. I have to have my Morley volume pedal and my compressor, or I will not go on a stage. That compressor stays on all the time. The volume pedal does what it does. I max the amp out and then I turn the volume pedal down to half, and that is my particular sound. Every other effect in the world, distortion, delay, whatever, I could do without it. But these two, no. These are just what I have to have. I refuse to go on stage, period, without them. So anyway, I'm going to grab the bass, plug it in, show you how much it does for your bass guitar. And I'll be back in 2 seconds. And you guys got a week to ask questions, because that's when I close down all the stuff. But you can always PM me and ask me about things. But too many morons asking or making too many stupid comments for me to leave my comments open for more than a week at a time. So glad some of you understand that. So there's just a quickie into the world of compressors / sustainer here, which is the key thing. So if you try other compressors for guitar, yes, they will suck. Why do other people use them? Other brands? Because they just don't know any better. You might find something you like, but without the sustain, you know, it just blows dog. It really does. Try a few out and try it out next to this one. This is the best-selling one in the entire world for a very good reason. So the Boss CS3 for electric guitars is period the only choice. All the others blow dog. I mentioned names: MXR, Wampler, DOD, Digitech, everything else. They suck. You know, so all your boutique pedals, you're paying good money for shit products. So I'll be right back, and we'll throw the bass through this Alesis over here. Okay? Be right back. Okay, now I'm back with the Fender Jazz Bass Plus. Has the two silver lace sensors in it, and it's playing through a little Hartke Kickback 12 amplifier. And here it is without anything on it. If you do a funk thing, great sounding bass and great sounding amp. What will compression do for this? First, listen. You hear that low cycle hum, the dirt in the room, or the dirty electricity, you should call it. So I have the compressor shut off. I'm going to turn on the compressor. So you will hear the noise gate over here. Shut off all that noise. There you go. Quiet as a mouse. Till I play it, I just touch it. Green, the gate is closed. I'm sorry, red, the gate is closed. Green, it's open, so it'll let the sound through. I've got it just enough, so you just have to touch the bass. But when you're not playing, the stage is quiet as a mouse. Again, if you're not going to use a compressor, a gate is a great thing to have. It's called, again, the threshold on this determines. See, I could do it there, so you can crank it way up. So I'm trying to play it, but it takes a lot to make it come through. Finally, there it does, but you turn it down so that it's just, you just go listen to the noise, turn your threshold to just shut up the noise, so that when you barely play, it lets it through. Then when you're not playing, it shuts it the hell up. That's worth $1 million right there. Without it, or check it out, without the gate, there's the noise you get. Turn the gate on. Amazing, huh? Okay, so a gate and a compressor. And this is a dual channel one. There's 2 channels here. So you could run one for one thing, one for an acoustic guitar, one for electric, one for, these are necessary extremely for drums and so forth. You have drummers who are just dumbasses generally, but they can't tune their drums right, and then you go to mic them and they boing through the PA. Put that gate on there. After he hits it, it makes the drum noise it's supposed to make, then it shuts it the hell up because he can't tune his drums right or put the right amount of tape and toilet paper on there to mute him, or just go out and buy an electronic kit and sound perfect all the time. But people generally, your real sound guys, will put a gate on every single drum, and of course a compressor on the kick drum, so it gives it that big huge poof. It just sounds like somebody just kicking a pillow with a elephant gun. But that's how you get that sound, is with a compressor, and then you gate it, then you shut it the hell up when it's not being hit. Okay, the same thing here with the bass. See, I'm just touching it, the gate lets loose, but I put my hands on there, it gets quiet. I'm going to set it so it's even quieter. Okay, right now, let's check it out. I've got it on some squash. Here is the thing without a compressor. Here it is with a compressor. Okay, now you're thinking to yourself, more than likely, there is that funk sound I've always wanted. Okay, it's not because you're using the wrong gear. Well, it probably is. Remember, the smaller speakers you use for a bass guitar, the better it's going to sound, tighter it's going to sound. If you're using big old 15s or 18s, you're just going to go to mud. And leave your volume, your tone knobs wide open, kiddies. Okay, don't ever turn your tone down on your bass guitar, it's just retarded. And keep nice bright strings on there, elixirs of course. And you can always have this sound. If you're doing it any other way, you're driving your bandmates nuts, trust me. So you've always wondered, how do people get that great funky sound, or just a good even sound? That is with the compressor. You bad bass players out there who accidentally fumble all over everything, all of a sudden you let off a big old thing like that. This compressor stops that. It sucks that note down. If you miss a note just by a little bit, okay, I missed a few notes in the middle, it will actually bring those up to full power just like you hit them all dead on. So this covers your mistakes. Who wouldn't want that? But then again, for walking patterns like that. Listen, here I am playing at my best, or at my simplest, doing a walking pattern. Now I'll put the compressor in on it. So it takes away all those peaks and valleys so that everything is even. If there's one thing you've always wanted, is your bass to stay a consistent volume. It does not need to go up and down as much as like a guitar would, where you would incorporate like a volume pedal or something like that. A bass just needs to be there, it needs to be tight, and this keeps it tight. The gate keeps it quiet, the compressor keeps everything tame. So if you try to hit a note and just blow out a horn in the PA system because you're hooked in there, you can do it with that under normal circumstances. When you really tear into one of those pops and slaps. But turn on the compressor, shut it the hell up. Okay. Okay, so no matter what you play, it's all the same volume. It has a nice studio sound to it. And again, this is the Alesis 3630 compressor that every person will bitch about, saying that's a piece of crap. Listen to it, kids. It sounds beautiful. You'll go out and try to spend the money on the big lexicons and the other stuff. No, this does a great job. People just don't know how to use the units. They think they have to have this because, well, if it's good enough for Petrucci, it's good enough for me. If it's good enough for Chris Squire, it's good enough for whatever. It's like, no. If it's good enough for you, it's good enough for you. If it's good enough for somebody else, doesn't mean jack shit. Okay? So get the stuff that actually works. And this works. You want to get that Seinfeld sound, which was actually, of course, done on keyboards, not on bass guitar, but this gives you that sound. You know, that's how they get this sound. With, you know, if you try to do it on bass, use a compressor. Okay, so there you go, folks. Once again, I'm Scott Grove, just showing you quickly what compressors and gates, limiters, volume pedals, just a quick little half hour or so into this. If you want to know more about them, please just write me, PM me, and I'll tell you more about them. And if you want a more in-depth video, I'll really get into them. I will show these applications for sound systems and vocals and so forth, which they are very necessary for, but a lot of things that can really go wrong if you do it the wrong way. So I'll be showing that also. But anyway, some folks wanted to learn just the tip of the iceberg, you know, just a very little bitty tip of what compressors do, and that's kind of it. Make the loud ones softer, make the softer ones louder. It's just a gain reduction technique. You can see how much gain is being sucked out of this. Okay, but that's a good thing. That's what gives you that sound. If you want the sound, this is how you get it. So again, if you want more real answers, just ask. Okay, so just happy to toss this out and fulfill a request to briefly touch on a couple different kind of compressors. Hope that helped out just a little bit. And like I said again, just ask if you have any further questions. Okay, and keep on spanking your compressor anyway. Bah.